A big hello to all my champions out there. Today I am here with paper 3 solutions for zoology part of it. I hope you watched the other video where I spoke about the botany related questions. Now all the zoology enthusiasts, come with me, let's solve, and it will be really quick. I know how important your time is, but yes, I am pretty sure you will be able to take away some important concepts from this particular video, so please watch it. Now starting with the first question, recognize the figure. What is this particular figure? It's just very, something very usual that you can see probably in physiology, right? What is it? This is the Bowman's capsule. From here starts the renal tubule, that is the proximal convoluted tubule, and then the Henle's loop, and then the distal convoluted tubule and stuff like that. Yeah, this would be a part of my renal artery. The renal artery which is there, it breaks down into smaller branches. You call it efferent arteriole, starting from A, efferent arteriole. This efferent arteriole comes over here, makes a bunch of capillaries. You call this bunch of capillaries are what? Glomerulus. Now then it will come back again, form another arteriole. What do you call this? Efferent. Efferent comes here, forms a bunch of capillaries, and then leads to efferent arteriole. Got it? And now this efferent arteriole will grow around the whole nephron and form a renal vein later on. Now, over here, what do we have? Recognize the figure. A is the fine branch of renal vein. Ma'am, you said renal artery, this is going to be wrong. Here it is renal vein. So yes, my dear children, it is renal artery, right? That has to branch down. It is the one that brings the oxygenated blood from the heart. It will give oxygen to the cells over here as well in the kidney. And also, when you form the capillaries over here, whatever important components are there which has to be moved out, it will be moved out through these capillaries out there. Now B carries blood towards the glomerulus. So this is the glomerulus and B is carrying it away from the glomerulus. So I say this is also wrong because here it is mentioned towards. Now C is a tuft of capillaries formed by A. Is that true? Is that true? Ma'am, I am not able to see what is C. So this is C. Okay, is this the bunch of capillaries? No. The pink color one are the bunch of capillaries. You call it Bowman's capsule. Sorry, glomerulus. C is what? The Bowman's capsule. It has a, what do you call, a cup-shaped structure. That is Bowman's capsule. So C is Bowman's capsule, but over here it is mentioned as tuft of capillaries. So I'll say this is also wrong. Going ahead, D is highly coiled network of renal tubule. D which you see, is it highly coiled? I told you, D is what? Renal tubule which go ahead and forms the proximal convoluted tubule, Henle's loop and distal convoluted tubule right there. So D is highly coiled tubule, my dear children, but yeah, that's all. So D is this one that you see over here becomes your answer. So which of the following is correct? Only one thing, that is fourth one. Rest all of them wrong. Okay. Now going ahead, statement 1 says, in frog the alimentary canal is short and the length of the intestine is reduced. Yes. Why? Why is that so? Because frog is carnivorous in nature, my dear children. So whenever we say that an organism is herbivore, that means herbivorous, that means it eats plants. And plants, for them to break down, it takes too much amount of time, because you know that plant cells have cell wall and the cell wall is made up of cellulose, which is why it takes longer time for animals to break down this big component there. So because, for example, cow, it takes huge time for digestion, which is why it has a long intestine and alimentary canal and stuff like that. But in the case of carnivores, my dear children, the alimentary canal is shorter because of the same reason, and for the same reason the length of the intestine is also reduced. So I'll say both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct. Okay, are correct. Both statement 1 and 2 are correct, which is why your answer would become A. So the digestive system consists of alimentary canal and digestive glands. The alimentary canal is short because the frogs are carnivores, and hence the length of the intestine is also reduced directly from your NCERT. So it is, one more thing is written, it is consisting of alimentary canal and also digestive glands. Remember that also. I saw a question around it. Now the clitoris is a tiny finger-like structure which lies at. What is clitoris? It's found in human beings, in the females, my dear children. Yeah. So I hope you know that you have 2 labia minora. You have a pair of labia minora. So this is the labia minora that you are having over here. Okay, within the labia minora towards the here, okay, at this end you have the vaginal opening, and then you have the opening of the urinary bladder through which the urine goes, right? And at the top of it you have some structure like this which is known as clitoris, and then over here you would be having the next pair of folds, that is the labia majora. Okay, so this is labia majora, you have labia minora, inside minora you have vaginal opening and the urinary bladder opening, and over here at the top of two labia minora, my dear children, you have the clitoris. So clitoris is a tiny finger-like structure that is found at the upper junction of two labia minora above the urethral opening. Yes, it is above the urethral opening. So this itself is correct, but let's see the other option. The upper junction of two labia minora below the urethral opening, do you see it below? No, it's at the upper junction, right? Now the lower junction of the two labia minora, wrong. The lower junction is wrong. So your only answer is this one. Okay? Cool. Next, in the measurement of blood pressure, the denominator and the numerator represents. What do you mean by denominator? This is denominator and this would be numerator. Now when you talk about blood pressure, I hope you know that the normal blood pressure is 120 mm of Hg and this would be 80 mm of Hg. This pressure denotes systolic pressure. Okay, and this pressure denotes diastolic pressure. What do you mean that by, ma'am? So systolic means during contraction. Okay, during ventricular contraction, suppose the ventricles are contracting at this particular, just a second. Come back. Just give me a second, okay? Yeah. So during ventricular contraction, what is happening? The blood is in there. Now when I contract, all the blood will be going into the blood vessels. Now the pressure the blood would be exerting on the blood vessels, it is known as the systolic blood pressure, which is 120 mm of Hg. Diastolic means when the ventricles are back to relaxation mode. At this point of time, whatever amount of blood pressure is there, blood is exerting on the walls of the blood vessels, it is known as diastolic pressure, which is obviously going to be lesser. So now you tell me, numerator and denominator. You are asked about denominator first and then numerator. So what does denominator show? Resting pump pressure. Yes, that is diastolic is equal to rest. And numerator shows what? Pumping pressure. Usually we do not see the question sequence and we go like, okay, it might be numerator and denominator, so it will be pumping and resting, or probably systolic and diastolic. Both B and C would be the correct answer because majority of the options say so. But my dear children, denominator is given first, so make sure you're talking about diastolic pressure first. So it is the resting pressure and then comes the pumping pressure. Okay, so A becomes your answer for this particular question. Going ahead, which of the following contraceptive devices is having a common mechanism of action? Valves and lipase loop. Valves is a physical barrier. It does not allow the sperm to enter because you are putting a cap-like thing in the cervix, right? Lipase loop is an IUD, intrauterine device. You put it inside the body of a human being, that is a female uterus, okay? And then basically this is going to act like a foreign particle, foreign agent, which is why your body becomes immunologically very active and would be killing down anything that comes along with it, probably a sperm also. So that is an IUD and this is a physical barrier. This is barrier method and that is IUD method. CUT and multi-load 375, both coming in one category, and that is copper releasing IUDs. That is what? Copper releasing IUD. Both of them, they release copper, my dear children. And how does copper help in preventing implantation and ovulation, my dear children? Basically what is exactly happening is that the copper messes up with the motility of the sperm. The sperm would not be able to move properly. That is the reason, okay? And also one more thing happens because of copper, that is it fertilizing capacity of the sperm also reduces because of copper. So these are the two things, okay? So CUT and multi-load 375, they are copper releasing IUDs. They are in the common category. So this is the answer. Let's go ahead first. Progestasert and cervical cap. Progestasert is a hormone releasing IUD. It releases the hormone progesterone, the synthetic version of it. Yeah. And progesterone usually normal condition, it helps in implantation to happen. It helps in ovulation to happen. But when excess amount of progesterone is given to the body, it will do the opposite of it. It will make the endometrium really thin. It won't allow ovulation to happen. The cervix which is there, it is thickened with the help of mucus. Sperm won't be able to enter and things like that. Cervical cap is basically a barrier method, comes under barrier method. Diaphragm, barrier method. Like lipase loop, I told you it's an IUD. It's a non-medicated IUD. So only this is the correct answer. Okay, next. Read the given statement carefully. Innate immunity is a specific type of defense that is present at the time of birth. First thing, innate immunity, you have two types of immunity, innate and acquired. Innate is something that is there from the birth. I agree. But is it specific? Is it specific that, okay, when this particular thing comes, I will be producing this? Is it specific like that? No, my dear children. The tears that we are going to produce, it is going to kill a lot of organisms. We do not know whether it's a bacteria or this or that or things like that. The skin which is there, it is going to act like a barrier for everything that tries to get in. So it is not specific to what it acts. Okay, so innate immunity is not specific. Here it is written specific, so that is wrong. Now, malignant malaria is caused by Plasmodium falciparum. That is correct. It is caused. Malignant version of malaria is caused by Plasmodium falciparum. Malaria could be confirmed by Vidal test. Typhoid can be confirmed by Vidal test, not malaria. There are only two tests given in NCERT. One is for typhoid, other is for HIV. HIV is ELISA, and for malaria, and for typhoid it is Vidal test. Now, active immunity is slow and takes time to give its full effective response. Yes, it is slow. Active immunity means what? Basically, your body is infected because of something. Probably a virus came in my body and my body is reacting to it. So, the first time it reacts to it, it is seeing the organism for the first time. So, this reaction would be of less intensity. I will call this primary response. And then later, the next response would be a bit faster. But anyways, it will be comparatively slower than what? Passive immunity. What do you mean by passive immunity? You are not waiting for your body to react and all, you are directly giving antibodies, ready-made things. Okay, here you are making your body produce antibodies against this. There you are directly giving antibodies, not producing, you are giving antibodies. This is known as passive immunity. Obviously, that will be faster than this. So, active immunity is slow and takes time to get its full effective response. That is true. Okay, now saliva in the mouth acts as physiological barrier for pathogens. Yes, it is going to act like a physiological. Saliva, HCl, tears, all of them are going to act like a physiological barrier. Now, which of the above statements are correct? I say 2, 4 and 5 are correct. 2, 4 and 5 are correct, which means A is correct option. Okay. Now, next thing, read the following statement and find out the incorrect statement. Humans are sexually reproducing and viviparous. Are humans sexually reproducing? Yes, my dear children. Okay, both male and female gamete comes together. Viviparous as in, do they produce an entire, do they give birth to an organism? Yes, they do. They do not lay eggs, right? This is correct. Now, transfer of sperm in the female genital tract, this vagina, is called ejaculation. No, ejaculation can happen anywhere. It does not necessarily be what vagina itself. Okay, it can happen outside also. Basically, this process, transfer of sperm in the female genital tract, I'll call this insemination. Okay, not ejaculation. So, this would be wrong. Now, there are remarkable differences between reproductive events in males and the females. Yes, you know, in the puberty time, males when they hit puberty, that's when the reproductive cycle becomes active. When you talk about females, the eggs are already being formed when they are in the fetal stage, right? So, yes. Now, the sperm formation continues even in old men, but formation of ovum ceases in women around the age of 15 years. Now, children who have studied 50, probably might have got confused. Well, it's just there to confuse you guys. Okay, please remember 50 years and 15 years is different. Read the question entirely. Sometimes you like 50, it probably might be saying 50 only, but it's 15 written over here, so that is wrong. Okay, menopause happens at almost around 50 years of age, not 15. Now, the male and the female reproductive systems are located in the pelvic region. Agree, ma'am? So, can I say 1, 3 and 4 are 5 are correct? 1, 3 and 5 are correct. What do I have to find out? Incorrect statement. So, incorrect statement are 2 and 4. 2 and 4, 2 and 4, 2 and 4 are incorrect. So, this would be your answer for the incorrect options. Okay. Next, which of the following has the maximum percentage of the total cellular mass? Protein, carbohydrate, lipid, nucleic acid. Total cellular mass, which of them has the maximum percentage of the total cellular mass? It will be protein, my dear children. What is your answer? The answer would be protein. Next, which of the following statement is correct? The ascending limb of loop of Henle is impermeable to water. The descending limb of loop of Henle is impermeable to water. The ascending limb of loop of Henle is permeable to water. The descending limb of loop of Henle is permeable to electrolytes. So, you have the descending limb and you have the ascending limb, my dear children. So, ascending limb is something that is impermeable. This is the ascending one and this is descending one. So, this is impermeable to water, okay, and this one is impermeable to electrolytes. Okay, please remember it. Impermeable to water, this is impermeable to electrolytes. Going ahead, okay, this is permeable to what? This is permeable to electrolytes, but this is opposite. This is permeable to what? Water. So now you tell me. The ascending limb of loop of Henle is impermeable to water. Is it correct? Yes, the first statement itself is correct. The descending limb of loop of Henle is impermeable to water. Wrong, because it is permeable to water. The ascending limb of loop of Henle is permeable to water. The ascending limb is permeable to water. Wrong. Okay. Now the descending limb of loop of Henle is permeable to electrolytes. Wrong. What is the only answer? Your only answer is A. Next, a person breathing normally at rest takes in and expels approximately half a liter of air during each respiratory cycle. This is called. A person breathing normally, my dear children, at rest takes in and expels approximately half a liter of air during each respiratory cycle. That means a normal respiration, talking about normal breathing, taking in, breathing out. So this is known as what? Tidal volume. That's a normal respiration in that which you are breathing in and breathing out. This is known as tidal volume. Inspiratory reserve volume, where forced expiration, forced inspiration is happening. Expiratory means forced expiration is happening. Vital capacity is totally different thing. So your answer would be tidal volume. So many questions come around it. Please make sure you know the concepts. So inspiratory reserve volume means the additional volume of air a person can forcibly inhale after a normal tidal volume. Okay, after a normal breath, the maximum I can inhale, that is inspiratory reserve volume. Expiratory reserve volume, the additional volume of air a person can exhale forcefully, okay, after a normal tidal volume exhalation. Vital capacity is what? The maximum volume of air a person can exhale after a maximum inhalation. It is a sum total of tidal volume, inspiratory reserve volume and expiratory reserve volume. This is very important. Maximum volume of air a person can exhale after a maximum inhalation, plus the tidal volume, plus the initial breath that I already took. So first I did like this, then I took in, then I take out everything. Okay, so that is vital capacity. So over here just normal breath, and that is tidal volume, my dear children. Now, which of the following is incorrect in relation to catecholamines? That means you're talking about epinephrine, epinephrine, that is, epinephrine and norepinephrine. Fight and flight hormones. Okay, so they are emergency hormones and hormones of flight and fight. Correct. These hormones increase the heartbeat, the strength of the heart contraction and the rate of respiration, obviously, because you need immediate supply of oxygen, which is why the heart rate and everything has to be increased. They inhibit the lipolysis and also proteolysis. Wrong. So basically for getting glucose, for getting enough amount of energy, they will break down everything that comes to their mind, okay, which includes lipolysis, and also lipids breakdown happens. Protein breakdown also happens. So I'm not saying when the lipids break down you will get glucose directly. I'm not saying that when the proteins break down you get glucose directly. But then eventually it would be helping in the formation of glucose end to end somewhere. Okay. So that is why it said that lipolysis and proteolysis is actually being initiated with the help of catecholamines, but here it is said that it is inhibiting it. So this will be wrong. Now they increase alertness, pupillary dilation, piloerection and sweating. Yes, they do. This is the only one that is wrong. Okay. Next thing. Note the following. Right side of the heart, left side of the heart, pulmonary arteries, pulmonary veins. Only oxygenated blood passes through what? So, this is your heart. Right atrium, left ventricle, right ventricle. Okay. This is the lungs and this is your body part. From the lung, oxygenated blood comes to the left atrium, there it goes to the left ventricle, from here it goes to the body. From the body it goes to the right atrium, from the right atrium it goes to the right ventricle, and there it goes to the lungs. Okay, so over here oxygenated blood transfers in this particular side. Okay, and what is this particular side including of? This is a pulmonary vein. Always remember, the one that carries blood towards the heart will be a vein, and since lungs are involved, I'll call this pulmonary vein. So pulmonary vein will be having oxygen. Now left ventricle to the body, it's aorta. It is aorta, the artery that carries the blood away from, A for away, A for artery. Now only oxygenated blood passes through what? Left side of the heart. Agreed. Pulmonary veins. Agreed. So can I say B and D is the answer? Yes, ma'am. What about this? Who takes the blood back to the heart? Towards the heart. Towards the heart means it has to be a vein. What's the name of this vein? Vena cava. you have superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. What is that? Something that will take blood away from the heart to the lungs, my dear children. Over here, it will be pulmonary artery. Artery again, but pulmonary because lungs are also involved. Okay. Next, select the incorrect match. Okay. I hope you're not able to see it, I know that. So Saheli, let's read it together. This is an oral contraceptive for female containing a non-steroidal preparation. That means it does not contain hormonal preparation, it is non-steroidal, yes. Okay, it is once a month pill. Until there it was fine, but once a month, wrong, it is once a week pill. So Saheli is really good, it does not have any other problems because it is non-steroidal, always remember that, but it is once a week pill, not once a month pill. Okay, so this is the incorrect match that we have over here. But let's read the other things. Male and female condoms. Condoms are barriers made of thin rubber latex sheet. These are applied just before coitus. Yes. Lactational amenorrhea, that means a mother who is lactating, who is breastfeeding, my dear children, in them, because prolactin hormone is way too much, ovulation would not be happening because prolactin inhibits gonadotropin releasing hormone FSH and LH, which is why ovulation and things like that does not happen. Okay, that is lactational amenorrhea, and ovulation is not happening, menstruation is also not going to happen. Now it is based on the fact that ovulation and therefore the cycle do not occur during the period of intense lactation following parturition. Okay, now you have MTPs, medical termination of pregnancy. So these are considered relatively safe during the first trimester, that is up to 12 weeks of pregnancy. That is also correct. So what is the incorrect match that we have over here? We just have one thing, and that is A. Cool? Yes. Going ahead. How many of the given statements are incorrect? Nucleolus and nuclear membrane disappear in prophase. Nucleolus and nuclear membrane disappear in prophase. It is correct. In prophase, they will disappear. Synaptonemal complex forms during zygotine. Always remember, you're talking about meiosis, prophase 1, right? So, lazy zebra play during day. I always say this. So, here the chromatin material, it condenses and things like that happen. Nucleolus disappears and nuclear membrane goes off. Yeah. In zygotine stage, what happens, my dear children? Two homologous chromosomes, they come together. Homologous chromosomes, they come together. There is formation of bivalent. There is formation of bivalent, and my dear children, this is the stage where synapsis happens. That means homologous chromosome is what? One chromosome here. This chromosome I got from the father, this chromosome I got from the mother. Why they are known as homologous? Because at the same position they will be having a gene coding for one character, that is height. So here it might be coding for tall, here it might be coding for dwarf, but there is a gene coding for height. They are homologous chromosome, and I hope you know that DNA replication happens initially, so both of them are like this because of the replicated version. So this homologous chromosome would be coming up together over here. 1, 2. And for joining them, you have synaptonemal complex in between. You have what? Synaptonemal complex in between. So synapsis happens over here in zygotine. Now in pichitin, what happens? There is crossing over, there is exchange of stuffs that is going to happen. So I'll say crossing over happens, and crossing over happens with the help of one very important enzyme that is known as recombinase. That is known as recombinase. Okay. Now you have diplotin. In diplotin, what happens, my dear children? Diplotin, basically they try to break up. So synaptonemal complex, this goes off. Dissolution of synaptonemal complex happens. Okay. The synaptonemal complex goes off. Synaptonemal complex, tata, it goes off. Okay. But when they try to go off, when they try to break off, they're still linked to each other and they form an X-shaped structure over here. This is known as chiasmata. This is known as chiasmata. Okay. Now in dikinesis, towards the end, they are about to die, my dear children. What happens exactly is that terminal stage they have reached. Okay. When they try to break up, finally the chiasmata moves towards down. It moves towards the terminal position, towards the end. So I'll call this as terminalization of chiasmata. Okay, now you tell me the answer. So nucleolus and nuclear membrane disappear in prophase, correct. Synaptonemal complex formation occurs during zygotine. Synaptonemal complex, is it occurring during zygotine? Yes. The enzyme responsible for crossing over in pichitin stage is recombinase. Yes. Chiasmata formation occurs in dikinesis. Chiasmata in diplotin. This is diplotin, this is dikinesis. Last one, it dies, right? So diplotin is the thing. So this is wrong. Chiasmata formation occurs in dikinesis would be wrong. So how many statements are incorrect? Only one. Rest all of them are correct. Okay, please remember this, very important. Now going ahead. Identify the organism and the phylum to which it belongs in the following diagram. What is this? This is, my dear friend, cycon, and cycon, my dear children, it's a poriferan. That means it's a sponge. Euspongia is also poriferan, but this is not Euspongia. Spongilla is again poriferan, but it's not Annelida. Cycon, my dear children, Annelida, wrong. Cycon is a poriferan. Please remember that. And this is a cycon. You need to know the pictures of cycon, spongilla, Euspongia, all of it. Very important. If you do not know, please make sure you're going through it. Now, read the following statements about the biodiversity and state the ones which is false. Western Ghats have greater amphibian species diversity than Eastern Ghats. Yes, it's given in the front page of your biodiversity and conservation chapter. Front page, second page. Okay, it's in the species diversity. Now, alpine meadows has greater ecosystem diversity than Scandinavian countries like Norway. Definitely true. Among animals, insects are the most species rich. Yes, insects are the most species rich. We talk about vertebrates, fishes are the species rich. Okay, if we talk about plants, I don't know why, but the fungi is also added. Fungi are the most species rich. Now, New York has more bird species than Colombia. Wrong. Colombia has, not New York. So this is a wrong statement. Please remember. Okay. Next, read the following statement and find out the incorrect statement about frog. In frog, external ears are absent. Yes, the external ears are represented by tympanum, my dear children. Tympanum, that is the eardrum. So that is correct. Ear is an organ of hearing as well as balancing. General, yeah. In males, testes are adhered to the upper part of kidneys by a double fold of peritoneum called mesothelium. In male, testes are adhered, they are close, okay, they are combined to the upper part of the kidneys by a double fold of peritoneum called mesothelium. Wrong. It is known as mesorchium. It is known as mesorchium. Please see, this is wrong. It is not mesothelium. Now, vasa efferentia 10 to 12 in number that arise from testes. That is correct, but this is wrong because it should be what? Mesorchium. Cool? Works? Chalo. Next. Most suitable reason why SA node acts as pacemaker for heart. Why SA node is going to act like a pacemaker for heart? It is located in the right atrium. Is it because of that? First of all, it is not located in the right atrium. Towards the top of the right atrium, it is there. Yeah. So this is not a reason. It is made up of neural tissue. It is made up of cardiac cells, my dear children. SA node is not made up of neural tissue. Yeah, it is automatically going to work and things like that. That is there. There's automaticity, but it is not neural tissue. Now, it is the first to generate the nerve impulse, yes, but again, that's not a reason why it's known as pacemaker for the heart. The reason is that it can generate the maximum number of action potentials per minute. That is the reason it is known as pacemaker. If it is not able to generate, do you think it can maintain the pace of the heart? So this is your answer. You don't have to see what is correct statement. You also have to see what explains the question as well. Okay? Next, inspiration can occur if the intrapulmonary pressure is low. I told the answer. Okay. Inspiration can occur if the intrapulmonary pressure, that is inside the lungs, okay, the pressure which is there, it is dash than the atmospheric pressure. Lower than the atmospheric pressure, yeah, that's only inspiration can occur. Okay. Now, inspiration is initiated by contraction of diaphragm. Diaphragm moves upwards and downwards. I hope you know that. Yeah. Which increases the volume of thoracic chamber in dash axis. Which axis? Listen, over here you have certain options. I know that you are not able to see that. I will show you then. So here it's more. Okay. More as in the pressure is more. This thing, inspiration can occur if the intrapulmonary pressure is dash than the atmospheric pressure. It is lower than the atmospheric pressure should be the answer. Now over here, in which axis do they increase when the diaphragm contracts? In which axis is it going to increase? Anterior posterior axis? Anterior posterior means this is, anterior and posterior side, my dear children. Is it going to increase like this, or is it going to increase in dorsoventral axis? Dorsoventral means dorso-interventral. It is going to increase like this. Your diaphragm is moving upwards and downwards, my dear children. So when you say, when you're inhaling, the diaphragm contracts. The diaphragm contracts, it moves down. It moves down. So basically you're increasing the anterior posterior axis over here. Okay, so it's more, and it is anterior posterior axis over here also more. It's dorsoventral axis. Okay, it's less anterior-posterior axis, this less dorsoventral. What is the answer for this? It will be less pressure than the atmospheric pressure, that's when it gets inside, and it's the anterior-posterior axis that increases during inhalation. So this becomes your answer. Okay, next. Among the following sets of hormones, which one contain only peptide hormones? Epinephrine, cortisol, pituitary hormones. My dear children, cortisol is a steroid hormone, epinephrine is a peptide hormone. Okay, I do agree that, but going ahead with pituitary hormone, if we talk about that, it is not. Okay, it is not just it is not just peptide hormone, but there are different types of hormones in there. There is FSH being produced, there are so many other hormones also being produced, right? So it is a mix of lot different types of hormones up there. Okay, so TSH, hypothalamic hormones, and estradiol, again not a combination. Insulin, progesterone, cortisol, not a combination because you have steroidal combinations in that. Insulin, glucagon, and prolactin, my dear children, they are the peptide hormones which are there. Okay, three of them are going to be peptide hormones: insulin, glucagon, and prolactin. Now, next thing, what is the other name for incomplete dominance? Incomplete dominance means, you know, there is red color flower and there is white color flower. Together when they come, it should be red. But what is happening? It is incompletely dominant, which is why it becomes pink in color. So what do you call this type of inheritance? Apart from incomplete dominance, blending inheritance, codominance, pseudodominance, all of the above. It is blending inheritance. There is a blend being created over here, right? So your answer would be blending inheritance. Now, with respect to the sodium-potassium pump, what changes will be observed when one molecule of ATP is used during the process? Okay, when one molecule of ATP is used during the process, what will happen? 3 ions of sodium, my dear children, are going to pump out, and 2 ions, okay, positive, what do you call, potassium ions, they are going to be taken in. In the case of sodium potassium pump, when I am going to expend one molecule of ATP, what is going to happen? 3 Na ions, okay, 3 Na plus ions are going to be pumping out, and 2 K plus ions are going to be taken in. So I'll say this is the answer. Okay, 3 ions of Na are taken in and 2 K are pumped out. No, only this. Okay, 3 ions are pumped out and 2 K ions are basically taken in. Next, experimental evidence in favor of chemical origin of life was provided by Oparin and J.B.S. Haldane. My dear children, Oparin and Haldane said that yes, there is chemical evolution of life, that is organic compounds which are there that you see over here are made from inorganic substances and things like that, but he didn't give the evidence for it. They didn't give the evidence for it. Who gave the evidence? Howard Urey and Stanley Miller. They gave the experimental evidence for it. Not both A and B, not none of the above. Your answer would be B. Okay, experimental evidence in favor of chemical origin of life was provided by Urey and Miller. Now, going ahead, select one word for this statement. If F1 resembled both the parents, if both the parents are there, that means probably A and B blood group, A and B both are equally there, which is why I get AB blood group, right? They are codominant. I will call this codominance. Going ahead, if F1 did not resemble either of the two parents and was in between the two, blending is there, I'll call this incomplete dominance. They are not completely dominant. Now, if F1 resembled either of the two parents, only one parent, but either of them, that means one is dominant. So can I say it's dominance? Yes, I'll call this dominance. So what is that option that matches all of this? Codominance, incomplete dominance, and dominance. D. Okay, it is shown by incomplete dominance is shown by snapdragon or that's all. That's all you have to remember. Okay, or Antirrhinum species. Yeah, that's the name of the plant. Now, 25th question. According to 2011 census, the population growth in India was what? 2011 census, the population growth in India was what? Less than 2%, 3.34%, sorry, negative, and more than 5%. What is the answer? It was less than 2%. The population growth in India was less than 2%. Why? Because of the bad infrastructural facilities which were available and things like that. Okay, which is why it was less than 2%. Next, bones become fragile in What? Osteoporosis, gout, arthritis, none of this. What is your answer? Bones become fragile. Bones would be becoming fragile when? When the calcium which is there, my dear children, it will be lost from the bones, because the calcium is the main component of the bones, right? And what disease do you think the calcium is being lost? It is osteoporosis, my dear children. It is osteoporosis, because of which the bone becomes fragile, because it is losing the calcium ions out there. Not gout. Gout is basically caused when you have uric acid being accumulated between the joints. Arthritis is also not that thing. It is osteoporosis. A. Okay. Next, immunity developed by vaccination is, what happens exactly in vaccination? You all might have taken COVID vaccine, right? What exactly did happen? So we had first shot, then second shot, and things like that. So basically, it's like telling our body that this kind of thing can come and attack you anytime, but you have to be prepared. So the first thing that you give is what? A weakened pathogen, or probably some part of the pathogen that is not going to cause any trouble in you, but you just want to intimate your body that, hey, something can come around like this. So that is what you're going to put in. Okay, now when you're going to put in that in your body, what will happen? My body will be producing antibodies against it. Yes, so the next time, whenever my body is releasing antibodies, it will also produce memory cells. So it has a memory that next time this kind of something comes in, I have to react like this, it has to be faster. Okay, so that is the use of vaccination. So can I say it is not natural, it is not naturally happening. Vaccination is not a natural process. I am artificially injecting something inside it. So wherever I see natural, I have to cut them down. Now artificial acquired active immunity, artificial acquired passive immunity. So my dear children, it is acquired, okay, I am acquiring it throughout my lifetime by vaccination, and it is active immunity. Why? Because I am making my body produce antibodies. So actively I am making my body participating in that. I am not doing passive immunity. Passive immunity example would be when, for example, a person gets bit by a snake. Now the person goes to doctor would be giving anti-venom. Anti-venom is basically what? Antibodies, preformed antibodies directly giving to that person, because I cannot wait for my body to produce antibodies at that person. At that point, if I wait, my dear children, that person would be dying off. You get it? So artificial acquired active immunity is something that plays a major role in vaccination. I am making my body itself produce antibodies so that next time, naturally, if infection comes in, I can fight back against it. Okay, so that is your answer. Next, 28th question. The thin thread-like chromosome with beaded appearance, that means chromatin is there. Okay, chromatin appear. Where do you see it? Chromatin is still there. Almost, I'll say it is leptotine. Remember, lazy zebra play during day. So it is leptotine over here. Now appearance of recombination nodules. Where does recombination take place? In pi chitin stage. Okay, formation of bivalent tetrads, that means you're talking about synapses happening, going to happen really soon. That is in zygote stage. Terminalization of chiasmata. Towards the end, dikinesis. Right, appearance of chiasmata in diplotin, just before it, in diplotin stage, appearance of chiasmata occurs. Now you tell me. So leptotine, pi chitin, zygotine, dikinesis, diplotin. This becomes your answer. I just taught you initially. So please, if you have not got the thing, please go and watch it. It's very, very important. I told you again and again. Okay. Now in IUCN Red List, extinction of 784 species includes what all? 338 vertebrates and 359 invertebrates and 78 plants. 359 vertebrates, 338 invertebrates and 87 plants. You have to remember it. There is no other option other than rectification over here. So 338 vertebrates, 359 invertebrates and 87 plants, my dear children. Okay, invertebrates are more. Okay, in the extinction, vertebrates are comparatively lesser and 87 plants are even more lesser. Okay, it's not 78, it is 87. It's just there to confuse you guys. Now, which of the following statements are true or false? Let's see. Just a second, okay? Yeah. In torpedo, the electric organs are capable of generating strong electric shock. Yes, it is true. Claspers are found in cartilaginous fishes. No, it is found in, claspers are found in bony fishes, not cartilaginous fishes, right? So this is wrong. Is this wrong? Is this wrong or is it right? Fast. Think. In shark we studied In shark, we studied that they have cartilaginous, sorry, they have claspers, and claspers are very important for sexual reproduction to happen, my dear children. Okay, so this is correct. Okay, amphibian skin is moist and has thick scales. Wrong. They have moist, but the scales, no. Birds are poikilothermous animals. Poikilotherms means they cannot maintain a constant body temperature. Their body temperature changes depending on the outside body temperature. Wrong. Birds and mammals, both of them are homeotherms or warm-blooded animals. They are not poikilotherms. Please remember, they need a constant body temperature, and for that they expend energy, which is why they have four-chambered heart, so that there is no mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. So this statement is wrong. The most unique mammalian character is the presence of milk-producing mammary gland. Yes, which is why they are known as mammalia. So this is also correct. So can I say 1, 2, 5 statement is correct? 1, 2 and 5 are true, and 3 and 4 are false. Yes. Yeah, and claspers are found in pelvic fin. Remember that also. Okay? Chalo. Now select the incorrect statement about frog. Body is divisible into head and trunk only. Correct. Forelimbs ends in 5 digits and they are larger and muscular than hind limbs that are ending in 4 digits. Wrong. Hind limbs are the one with 5 digits. Forelimbs, the one in the front has 4 digits. Okay, one in the front have 4 digits, one in the back have 5 digits. Wrong statement. The forelimbs and hind limbs helps in swimming, walking, leaping, burrowing and all this thing. Yes. And feet have webbed digits that help in swimming. Yes. The digestive system of frog consists of alimentary canal and digestive glands. I just told you before, yeah, when we were talking about frog. So what do we have to find out, my dear children? The incorrect statement, and this is the incorrect statement. Always remember, forelimb has 4 digits and hind limb would be having 5 digits. Cool. Next, read the following statement and choose the correct option. Cerebellum has a very convoluted surface in order to provide space for more neurons. That is correct. Yeah, where do you find cerebellum? What is cerebellum a part of? Your hind brain. In your hind brain, you know, at over here. So this is your brain, this is your brain stem. You have this thing that is your cerebellum. And here you would be having your midbrain as well. Now, so hindbrain is this and this. This is cerebellum, this is pons and medulla oblongata and things like that. So medulla is connected to the spinal cord. Yes, medulla forms the part of a brainstem and it connects to the spinal cord. Correct. When a neuron is not conducting any impulse, that is the axoplasm inside the axon contains high concentration of potassium ions and negatively charged proteins and low concentration of sodium ions. Yes, that is correct. When it has any impulse starting off, that's when the sodium ions rushes in. So this is correct. Okay. Now, can I say all the statements are correct? Yeah, 1, 2, 3 statements are correct. So all of them are basically correct, my dear children. Okay. Next, which of the following is the most abundant protein in animals? In animals, it's not asked about plants. Okay, in plants it is rubisco, I know that. In animals, hemoglobin, keratin, rubisco, collagen. It is collagen which is the most abundant protein in the case of animals. Okay, so which of the following is the most abundant protein in animals? It is collagen. Cool? Cool. Next, Leydig cells are located between what? So Leydig cells, suppose this is a testis, you have testicular lobules, my dear children. Inside the testicular lobules, you have seminiferous tubules. Agreed? In between the seminiferous tubules, inside the seminiferous tubules, what do you have? You have the sperm being formed. And what else is there? Sertoli cells are there, which helps in nourishing the sperm cells and things like that. Now, in between 2 seminiferous tubules, the space that you see, my dear children. Over here, you have what? Leydig cells. And they help in the production of androgens, male sex hormones. So, Leydig cells are located between the testicular lobules. Between the testicular lobules. Wrong. Between the seminiferous tubules, right? In the seminiferous tubules, no, in the seminiferous tubules, you have Sertoli cells. Outside the seminiferous tubules, but in the testicular lobules. Correct. Outside the seminiferous tubules, but between the testicular lobules, no, not between the testicular lobules. In the testicular lobules only, between the seminiferous tubules, it is present. Leydig cells. Okay. Next, a patient comes to the clinic with a genetic disorder. categorized by a webbed neck and the presence of rudimentary ovaries. This person most likely has autosomes along with what? So patient who is coming with a genetic disorder, my dear children, they have webbed neck, okay, the neck is like webbed neck, okay, and the person is having rudimentary ovaries. Now, the first part of the question is just given to confuse you guys. You do not know this disease, okay, but you definitely know which organism or which type of genetic disorder has this problem where the ovaries are rudimentary. It is what? Turner syndrome. It will be what? Sorry. It will be Turner syndrome, right, where there is only one X chromosome, the other X chromosome does not come, there is a XO condition. Okay, so this person most likely has autosomes, there is normal number of autosomes, but talking about the X chromosome, 2 X and 1 Y, no, only one X chromosome and that is X, sorry, only one sex chromosome, that is X. Okay, that is why they have rudimentary ovaries, they do not have well formed ovaries. Now 321st chromosome, no, 3X chromosome, no, your only answer is B. Now, going ahead, what is the source of gonadotropin releasing hormone? Hypothalamus, anterior lobe of pituitary, posterior lobe of pituitary, intermediate lobe of pituitary. What is the source of gonadotropin releasing hormone? Who releases gonadotropin releasing hormone? GnRH. It is hypothalamus. Hypothalamus releases this, okay? And this goes and acts on the anterior lobe of pituitary and posterior lobe, anterior lobe of pituitary, and makes anterior lobe of pituitary release certain things such as LH, FSH and things like that. Okay, so it is hypothalamus which is responsible for release of gonadotropin releasing hormones. Now, metagenesis is seen in Cycon, Obelia, Ascaris lumbricoides, Periplaneta americana. What is it? Ascaris is Ascalminthus, Periplaneta is talking about cockroach, arthropod, Cycon is poriferan, Obelia is what? Cnidarians, and cnidarians are the one that shows metagenesis. They have polyp and medusa stage, okay. So, the switching in between that is known as metagenesis, and Obelia is a cnidarian, which is why it does it, okay. Next, match the column 1 with column 2 and choose the correct combination from the options given below. Opioids, cannabinoids, coca alkaloids. I'll zoom this in and show it to you. Yeah, okay. So opioids, how do you take it? Which method? Snorting and also injection. Snort it or inject it, that is the thing. You do not do it, okay. Cannabinoids, opioids as in heroin and morphine and things like that, okay. Now cannabinoids, it is taken by inhalation or and by oral ingestion. What comes under this? Charas, ganja, marijuana and all this thing, okay, bhang. Now, coca alkaloids, cocaine, they are taken up by snorting. So, I see all of them are arranged in order only. Opioids with snorting, cannabinoids with this and coca alkaloids with this. So, I will say A goes with 1, B goes with 2 and C goes with 3. Okay? Okay, ma'am. Next, the infectious stage of Plasmodium that enters the human body is. What is the infectious stage that enters the human body? The Plasmodium of Plasmodium. Plasmodium is in which stage? In the salivary gland of mosquito. It's in sporozoite stage, my dear children. It is in sporozoite stage in the salivary gland. Now, from the salivary gland, when mosquito comes and bites us, it basically releases some saliva because saliva has anti-clotting agents, right? And with that, sporozoites comes inside our body, goes into the liver cells and then damages them, and then goes into RBC, damages them, and so many things happen. Okay, so it is sporozoite stage, not male gametocyte stage, not trophozoite, not female gametocyte. Okay, it is just sporozoite stage. And I also want to tell something, that is, in the case of human body, never ever Plasmodium undergoes reproduction. Reproduction of Plasmodium occurs in the mosquito only. Okay, they form gametocytes. Gametocyte stages are the one that will again form gametes, but these gametocyte stages which are being produced in the human body, it's been taken up by the Anopheles mosquito. In the gut of the Anopheles mosquito, this gametocytes will be forming gametes and later fusing. Always remember that. Okay. Now, which one of the following is not a property of cancerous cells whereas remaining 3 are? You have to find which one is not. They compete with normal cells for vital nutrients. Yes, obviously they do that. They are bad people. Now, they do not remain confined in an area of formation. Yeah, they move around. This is known as metastasis. This is known as metastasis. They divide in an uncontrolled manner. Yes, my dear children, why do they divide like that? Because they do not show contact inhibition. They show contact inhibition wrong. They do not show it. So, normally when a cell is there, it divides, it divides, it divides. Suppose another cell is also there. When they come in contact, they stop their division. This is known as contact inhibition. When they come in contact, they are inhibiting and they are not dividing. But in the case of cancerous cells, okay, these cells will keep on dividing even if they come in contact. So it goes in uncontrollable manner because they did not show contact inhibition. So here this is something that is wrong. Last 5 questions. Now select the incorrect statement regarding AIDS. Let's see. AIDS is not a congenital disease and was first reported in 1981. It's actually correct. It's not a congenital disease, right? It's not a genetic disorder that you get. Okay, so please remember that. AIDS can be successfully treated using antiretroviral drugs. Wrong. It cannot be successfully treated by anything. You can just elongate the longevity, that's all. Otherwise, nothing can be done. Please remember, there is no successful treatment for AIDS being reported now. So antiviral drugs, retroviral drugs are given for just increasing the longevity, that's all. Now macrophages acts as viral factory as it leads to the continuous production of new viral particles. Yes, it is known as HIV factory because it is where the HIV virus first comes and attacks and increase their number, and then they slowly go and attack the T lymphocytes. What lymphocytes? T lymphocytes, dear children. Which T lymphocytes? T helper lymphocyte goes and attacks them and causes the whole problem. Now in AIDS, a decrease in B lymphocytes count is seen. Run. It's T lymphocytes, TH lymphocytes specifically. So can I say second and fourth statement are wrong? What do you have to find out? Incorrect statement. So second and fourth is wrong. So I'll say A is correct. Yes. Next. Which of the following is incorrect about Homo habilis? So Homo habilis, my dear children, is in the origin of man. It's a stage, right? So first came Ramapithecus and Dryopithecus. Dryopithecus were most ape-like. Ramapithecus were more man-like. Rama, Ram, name, however you want to remember, you can remember it. They're more man-like. Okay. Now from Ramapithecus came Australopithecines. Yeah, and from them came Homo habilis or Homo habilis. That is the first hominid-like features they had, my dear children. The cranial capacity was 650 to 800 cc. Okay, that is the cranial capacity of them, and they didn't eat meat. They were fruit lovers. They wanted to have fruits. They essentially made weapons and stuff like that. They were tool makers, but they never ate meat. Always remember. So what is not correct about them? That is what we have to find out. So it's considered to be evolved from after Australopithecus, correct. It was the first hominid, correct. Cranial capacity was around 650 to 800, correct. It was absolutely carnivorous, wrong. They were absolutely herbivorous. I mean, they eat fruits and things like that. So they cannot be carnivores. This is wrong statement. Now, the colonization of tropical Pacific islands by humans is said to have led to the extinction of more than. So human beings went ahead to Pacific islands and settled there. This colonization had led to extinction of what? Extinction of 1,200 species of native birds, 1,300 species of native birds, 1,400 species of native birds, 2,000 species of native birds. What is the answer for this question? Your answer is 2,000 species of native birds. All of them got extinct, my dear children. Remember that. Now the 44th question. Increase in body temperature makes oxyhemoglobin dissociation curve parabolic, hyperbolic, shift to right, shift to left. So if you have seen the oxygen hemoglobin curve, you might be knowing it will be shifting towards the right. I'll show you how. So listen, this is the curve, okay. So sorry, this is the graph. So this is the partial pressure of oxygen. This is the oxyhemoglobin content. That means oxygen and hemoglobin are together over here. So this particular partial pressure of oxygen, my dear, suppose it is 20. Suppose this is 20. Okay, so this particular position, you can see that the oxyhemoglobin percentage is also 20. That's pretty good. Now, when there is higher temperature, at this point of time, what happens is that the oxygen would be dissociating with hemoglobin. The oxygen would be dissociating with the hemoglobin. So, at the partial pressure 20, what is happening? If you see now, the curve which goes down, which has shifted down, okay, at 20, it is lesser than 20 over here. It is lesser than 20 over here. That means oxygen has dissociated from hemoglobin. You get it? So at higher temperature, it is going to shift towards right. At lower temperature, it is going to shift towards left. Always remember. So increased temperature and increased H plus ion concentration, it has reduced affinity for oxyhemoglobin. Okay, the oxygen and hemoglobin would not be together. So you have to look at this graph like this, then only you will be able to understand. So it shifts to right. Cool. Now, Which of the following options correctly represents the lung condition as asthma and emphysema respectively? In asthma and emphysema, basically your lung is getting affected. What exactly is happening in asthma, my dear children? The bronchioles, they have inflammation. The bronchioles would be having inflammation. When talking about emphysema, that's where the alveoli is getting damaged. The exchange is not going to happen properly therefore. Okay, because the alveolar tissue which is there, it is going to get damaged. So you are asked about what is the following options correctly represent the lung condition in asthma and emphysema. So increased respiratory surface, inflammation of bronchioles. Increased respiratory surface cannot happen anyways, and that too in asthma, no way. And increased number of bronchioles in asthma, no way. Inflammation of bronchioles, yes my dear children, asthma it can happen. And decreased respiratory surface, yes, that will happen in emphysema, because as I said, alveoli is also getting damaged, which is why decreased respiratory surface will be there, and in the case of asthma it will be inflammation of bronchioles also. So your answer would be C. Decreased respiratory surface in the case of asthma, inflammation of bronchioles in the case of emphysema, wrong. That's the opposite of it. So that's why this becomes your answer. Please remember it. And with that, we have completed the 45 questions of zoology as well. Children, again, as I always say, if you have any doubts persisting, please ask me in the comment section. I am here to help you out. That would be, I'll be so happy to help you out. Please remember that. And if you think that we have helped you in any ways, do not forget to subscribe the channel and also like the video and share it with your friends. And please not worry about anything. You are going to absolutely ace the NEET examination. Just keep working hard. Okay, that's all. So bye-bye. Take care.